Everybody, welcome to the Multipliers Leadership Podcast. Today we have Garrett and Stephanie Peters, their husband-wife powerhouse. They run a business called Duncan Stone Paper Co. They specialize in capturing all of your favorite memories through the medium of journals, whether that's sharing the wisdom of a grandparent or maybe Grandma Essie's banana pudding recipe. They do a little bit of everything. Yes, I have a Grandma Essie. Garrett is the chairman of the board here at Multiply Global. But more than any of that, they love Jesus. And they're friends to us and Multiply Global as well. And so, Garrett and Stephanie, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Joseph, man. Thanks for having us, dude. Excited.
Hey, can you guys tell us about the story of Duncan and Stone, just kind of how it started, what you guys were doing, and can you give us a little bit of that story so our listeners can get to know you guys a little bit more?
For sure. Take it away, Stephanie.
I think that the start of Duncan and Stone, you have to step back, I would say maybe a few years prior to Duncan and Stone launching. Where Garrett and I really sat down together and we're praying about, dreaming about what it looked like to replace his salary in corporate America and really take off in a retreat space and cultivate something that we had a dream for over here on the side. And so all the things that we were doing in our life at that period of time leading up to Duncan and Stone everything was with the lens of like, how do we replace his salary? So going into it with that. We had just finished a project of a land development over here in West Fayetteville, and I'd had my third son. And so we were like in this series of like, okay, maybe we should just rest for a minute, take a really deep breath. And it was in this period of time of rest that I looked up and saw one of our very best friends that we do a lot of life with. Just their daughter had a seizure and were having a lot of financial things, but she was also like super creative. Like I was watching her sort things for Etsy to ship out different shipments. And I was like, Sarah, why are you not like manufacturing this? You are like so gifted and talented. And she was like, Stephanie, I'm never going to do the business. It's super overwhelming. And that's when Garrett and I were like, we just kept having these conversations around the dinner table with them. I'm like, you've got to do something. And Garrett was like, I'm going to do something, and we just saw this as like, we saw the vision for it of like, let's just step in and we'll do the business side of it. And like, we'll let her do all the creative and just kind of see what happens. And so that's what we did. In 2019, we all four, that couple and us sat in the living room and we drew out on a cardboard air fryer box the year plan. I have it.
The official business plan.
And Garrett just downloaded all the things he knew from the business world. And I was just taking notes and writing it all out. And our husband sent us, Sarah and I, to LA to this thing called Paper Camp. And we went for 3 days, inundated into the paper world, and we spent money on a business that we didn't have. Like we were like, okay, cool. We just spent money on something. So I guess we have to now make something and make it happen, so we got back in 2019 and just kind of started grinding. We found a manufacturer partner and then we launched our journals February of 2020.
Ooh. So. February 2020. I don't know if you remember that year, but there's a lot happening in 2020.
Well, and so sweet of the Lord because, Sarah at Garland's income, he's a pastor at Fellowship, and their whole income depended upon Etsy. Like for them to make their bills, she had to have her Etsy business. And so here comes our journals launching in February 2020. Her whole business rided on invitations, like wedding invitations, shower invitations. And so for March and everything shuts down and her whole Etsy world of her income just fell out because there was nothing happening. And then immediately we start selling this prompted keepsake journal on her platform. And it looks like we have, 10,000 reviews and we've been operating because we're underneath her company at this time. And it just validated our business when everybody was looking for something to do. So it was just like the perfect timing that like no one could have foreseen.
It's so good. I love that journey. And in the middle of it, I learned that there's something called Paper Camp.
Yeah.
I didn't know that there. I feel like Paper Camp should have been in the office somewhere. Like that should have made the cut.
Yeah.
For Paper Camp.
And early on, we also told people that we ran a paper business. So we definitely didn't know what the heck we were doing.
They were like, Dunder Mifflin? What are we doing here?
It's literally in Scranton. Yes. I mean, I have to know though. I mean, obviously we're thinking about 2020. It's perfect timing for for the Autries and for them to launch and for you guys to launch. But I mean, how is launching a business in the middle of COVID? Like what I mean, I'm sure it had to have tons of different obstacles, but what did you
Yeah.
learn about yourselves or learn about leadership kind of in
Oh,
that
goodness.
space?
Yeah, I think that we learned a lot, honestly. I mean, I think that we, in a lot of ways, it allowed us to kind of put energy and effort toward the business that for sure myself, that I wouldn't probably otherwise had. I mean, I was still had a full-time job, at the time
Hmm.
when we launched. And so I was working in the mornings, at nights, and all sorts of different times throughout the day just to kind of help Stephanie out. She's fulfilling orders out of our garage. I mean, it was, I think that season for us like developed a resiliency and grit around just continuing to do the next right thing. I mean, we didn't, none of us, all four of us, we didn't have any experience in starting a business. We didn't know what we were doing. And we're like, we just have to do the next thing.
Right.
And so let's see if the Lord continues to bless and grow this thing. And so we were just grinding, for 2020 and on to 21 for sure.
Right. It was for sure in that season. And we've learned about ourselves over the years doing even assessments through Giant. We both see work as play. And so that's kind of a gift for us, because if it was one of us didn't see work as play, would have been like, this is the worst, burn it down. Because we would put our kids to sleep at night and pop up on our computers and literally work till midnight. Every single night. People are like, what show are you watching? I'm like, I don't watch shows. Like, we're
Time for a
building this.
show. I've
You
got
know,
three
and I'm
boys
not-
in a business.
probably in it now, and I'm like, we needed to Sabbath, like we needed to like rest and learn rest in that rhythm, and we did not have that in that season. So I don't suggest that for people, but it was a gift that we both saw work as play, like, and we could do that together. So it was connecting for us. It wasn't necessary. It was like, we're doing this together.
Yeah. The last piece I would add is we have always had a family run business. I mean, you're talking two families that started this business together. And so I remember vividly, our oldest son at the time was, he's 9 years old, 10 years old or whatever. And he's out there fulfilling orders in the garage with Stephanie, and he's helping out. He's packing up stuff. Like, they were pretty involved in our business early on. And it was like, listen, all hands on deck. Like, everyone's got to carry their weight around here because we're trying to grow this little thing out of our house.
And so cute. Like Connor, he was in second grade, our middle son at the time. And I remember him coming home with a sheet of paper, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And it had all this list. And he had wrote at the bottom, as best he could spell it, entrepreneur, because it wasn't an option on the list. And I'm like, okay, we're building it, like,
let's go.
We're doing
it is.
I
love that. And just, I mean, you mentioned resiliency and grit, like, from the outside looking in, like, I see those things within you guys continuing to grind and putting in the work that it takes to be able to see a business not only launch, but to be successful as well. And I know that you guys have a big passion for the things of the kingdom. Obviously, you're running a business, which takes a lot of time and intentionality, but a lot of our listeners, some of them may be a pastor, but most of them probably aren't. And so I'd love to hear like how you see the things of the kingdom and business and how they intersect together. And what do you do? What do you do with that? I'd love just to hear your perspective on kingdom and business and how those things come together.
I can too.
Yeah.
I love that question. And I think there's the way I look at it, Joseph, is historically I had this divide in my mind around work, my faith, my friendships, and all these sorts of areas were kind of compartmentalized. Like, hey, I might want to do church things or kingdom things over here, but I go to my job every day and I see no connection there. And the reality is, what I've learned over the years is how intertwined those things are. And so the way that we run our life and run our business is we want to make an impact in the kingdom with what we do. Like, and for us as business owners is, what do we give to? What do we invest our time and energy into? Obviously, we're making journals that are bringing families together. We do have a lot of spiritual goods and things like that. They're not all spiritual items, but there's a piece of that in the way that we built our business around, kingdom things. And so I just see it as a platform. Like, that's the way I look at it, is like, hey, if my life is one whole piece, there's a whole person, I get to run a business, but also get to serve. I love Multiply Global. I love leading men. Like I love all these things. So like, why not do everything? I want to do it all. Like I have
He's
a
the
problem.
seven.
I have a
That's your personality type. That's
like,
for
why
sure. I
not?
want to do it all
Let's do it
in the
everything. Let's
best
do
way.
everything. Let's do
Till he
everything.
He's like, okay.
Okay. And then I just crash and burn.
Yeah, and I always thought, I now I've really learned a lot about myself and the gifts and way God's wired me, and I am realizing I have a gift of faith. I can
Mm.
see something and I can say out of these five things, I just know I can't explain how I know that this one's going to work. And then I'll just run full throttle towards that thing. And so whenever we started building Duncan and Stone or doing real estate stuff, even prior to that, I just had this like in my spirit, like we're going to find something that's going to be able for us to stand upon to launch, to do the things that really God, I feel like has called us to do.
Mm.
I couldn't tell you, in 2010 or 11, what that was going to look like. I would have never guessed it was a paper company. But we just kept doing, like Garrett said, the next thing in front of us that God really prompted us to do. And it was like having a flashlight and just knowing the next in the dark and just going, that's the next step. We're just going to take that step. And so that's the way I've kind of seen Duncan and Stone play for us is it's being able to let us give generously and serve with our time. Just because the way we're building our business is releasing us as employees and we're moving to owners. And so in doing that, it's allowing us to continue to cultivate this company over here, but also free up our time to serve in ways that we couldn't do that
More
before.
capacity.
We had more capacity.
Yeah, and I think one of the challenges with a lot of leaders is, or people that have like, I want to do something, I want to serve with a ministry, or I'm going to serve in this sort of capacity. And I think one of the challenges is we can almost trick ourselves into, I will do that one day when something else has to happen in order for me to do that. And maybe a lot of times that might be true, but I think that it almost can hold us back from just doing that thing.
Yep.
It's like we didn't really set out to say, hey, once we start a successful business and we get our life all figured out and then we have like no work to do, then I will go and do these other
Right.
things that I'm passionate about. Well, that doesn't happen. I don't feel like that's really the reality. So it's like you can't just hold off on doing something. It's like, well, go ahead and
What can you
start
do
doing
now?
it. Why
Yeah.
not start doing it now?
I think that's wisdom, Garrett. When Tiffany and I first got married, like at the very beginning, like when I say very beginning, I mean like we're like 2 weeks in kind of
Yeah.
thing. We were living in Fayetteville, Arkansas at the time. We had like a 4-6 weeks until she graduated college, and we're moving to Texas, which we did that for a decade.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember we're sitting in, I kid you not, a pay by the week motel because that's how we're starting. And we're sitting in there, and I remember making this statement because Tiffany's parents they're really generous in several different ways. And I remember as soon as the words came out, I knew it was wrong, but I couldn't stop them. And I said, Tiffany, I hope that we can be generous like your parents one day. And she said, well, being generous doesn't start when you have. Being
Oh,
generous
wow.
starts when you don't, right?
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. That's
And it's that kingdom principle of being faithful
Yep.
with the little so you can be faithful with much, right?
Yeah.
And I think that you framed it perfectly because that's what you guys have been doing, but also will continue to be able to do because you're being faithful with what's put in front of you, which is beautiful.
Right.
That's a hope.
Now, Stephanie, you said something a couple times, so I'm gonna dig a little bit if we can dig. So you said 2 different times that the more that I learn about myself or discover about myself, like if you're willing or to whatever level you're willing to go there, we'd love to know like how did you begin to discover more about just what's inside of you and how the Lord's wired you, and then how that just plays into the bigger picture of family and of business, like and maybe these are deep waters, but they don't have to be. But I would love to know just what that discovery process has been like.
I think that I'm wired to dig into like how God's wired me. It's kind of been in my DNA since I was young. But over the last few years, I got to go to an experience. It's called Camp Well with the Well Summit back in October of 2021. And that really did start shifting something for me around around design, like the way God has designed me. Like, yes, we have our design of how God has called all of us, but we also have a unique calling on our life individually. And just the content and the direction to continue that work, to seek out like how God's designed me uniquely, really started back in October, I would say, of 21.
That sounds like a great start to a journey. It seems like it's continuing.
And it never will end, like it's like a never ending journey of just continually a self-discovery and, like continually laying things before the Lord and listening for what he has to say about things. So
that's great.
I think that I've heard Josh Folliart say this. He I don't know if he made this up. He probably stole it from somebody. Josh.
It's possible.
Possible. But he says, like, none of us graduate from the school of self-discovery or self-awareness.
Yep.
It's true. It's like, in October 21, you start digging into stuff and it's like, oh, there's more, and so we never graduate from that kind of self-awareness journey.
That's a great, I love just that you're on that journey. Stephanie, what would you, if for somebody that maybe hasn't really started that, they haven't had access to something like the well, like what would you encourage them to do? Like where'd be a good starting point? Like maybe it's in the church context.
Yeah,
maybe it's to
let's
find
go.
something.
What would somebody do? Come on.
What our, within the Well Summit, what we continually say is we're trying to get towards union with Jesus, unity with others, and unleash to bring the kingdom near. So to me, it's unity, it's union with Jesus. Like it's me pursuing that. It's creating a community around me that I could be my authentic self inside of. And then just being a constant learner, like, and learning how to confess quicker. Like, I think that sometimes you think that the mark of maturity is that you don't confess anymore. And I would say the mark of maturity is you just learn to confess faster. And
That's
so, that to me, those would be the three things that I think are just foundational is union with the Lord and unity within your community.
That's so good.
To figure out and to really hear from God on what he's calling you to do. And that might be just be faithful in your home for this season as a stay-at-home mom. It might not be anything that you think is like, wow, I'm going to just do this big thing. It's just being faithful maybe where you are. So, but listening to what God has to say about some things and practicing that inside community.
It's powerful. Union with the Lord, union with your community, and being able to release the kingdom kind of in that process. That's a word right there, Stephanie. That's the weight in gold for this podcast.
That's it.
I have to say, I mean, you guys, you're active. You guys are involved in a lot of different things. Anybody from outside looking in, they know that you're in several different categories. But I would love to talk about just where maybe some of your other passions are. Like, I mean, right now, I think you guys use your time, your talent, your treasure, use kind of everything for the kingdom. You're an advocate for Multiply Global, but I know we're not the only people that you're passionate about or the mission that you're passionate about. Where are all you connected and involved in, and what are you guys passionate about in this season?
Oh, that's good. Good question. I think that you hit the big one for me is, partnering with Multiply Global, and being a resource. Obviously, like being on the board with Multiply Global is great. I love staying connected to the organization and the work being done all over. It's the neighbors and nations, here locally and all across the world, which is so fun. I'll tell you, for me, it looks like a couple things. A big one right now for me is our oldest son's about to be 13 in the fall.
Ooh.
Yeah. Ooh is right. And so I'm like, I find myself like in this season of like trying to figure out what it looks like for us to like take him through this next season, so I'm trying to connect. I'm reading stuff. I'm really digging into all that, but like just trying to build a community around our son and some of his friends to help take them on this journey,
initiating them into manhood.
Initiating into manhood. So like, I'm passionate about that. And I think it's really built out of my own, like, I feel like God continues to initiate me into manhood and he has over the last few years. And so that's looked like Wild at Heart boot camps, that Joseph, you and I have been able to be a part of, which
we've been side by side. Yeah.
I know. It's like, it's stuff like that I'm like, I want to be around things like that are calling us up like revealing ourselves, calling us into more initiation, things like that. And especially like men's ministries. But now I think because we have 3 sons, I'm like, we have these 3 little maniacs that are going to be men, hopefully one day, like Lord willing, like God, please.
Pray over me every night. I'm like, what?
Come on.
So I spend my
3 boys.
I know 3 boys. We're raising these 3 kiddos. It's been so fun. But I think about that sort of stuff a lot.
That's great. Anything from you, Stephanie?
Yeah, I mean, I've spent a lot of my time right now with the Well Summit. So, and that kind of happened back in April of 2023. It's interesting how God does things. I was actually really working through in counseling at this time, like trying to be more in tune with my emotions. Like I went to my counselor. I'm like, I just feel like I operate way too much in my left brain and I need to be more in tune with my emotions than my right. Like, I just need you to kind of help me with this. This has a point because I got to Camp Well in April of 23. And at the end of that Camp Well, to be able to for me, like my personality, be able to really feel the weight of what we were closing out and what the significance of that particular session held. And it was just really clear in my spirit that God said, don't let Jen, who is the founder visionary of the Well Summit, it just to not let her quit. And it was like deep inside of my heart. And it was one of those faith pieces of like, out of all the things, this is the thing. And I just remember walking over to her and saying, I don't know what this means. I just feel like God is telling me not to let you quit. And so that's what I've been doing since April of 2023 is just trying to be as faithful as I can to walk next to her, continually to kind of help her with vision and faith around what God can do and it's going to do through the Well Summit. And so I'm officially now for this season, the executive director of the Well Summit. So
yay, come on. Let's
yeah.
go.
And I say that with like, not like that. I will probably be serving in this ministry for forever. I don't ever see me leaving it. But I also know that I'm a cultivator. Like at the heart of who I am a cultivator and love to see the start and the groundwork and the foundation set. And whenever I see people with higher talent, I'm like, come in and replace me in this. And so I hold it really loosely for that role because I know that one day God will probably bring somebody who is more talented and more gifted in that space. But for this season, I'm called to cultivate where I'm at with that.
Cool.
Man, that's so good. Both of you are sharing just things that you're individually passionate about, but also there's so much richness there of both the development of self, but also how do I continue to be able to pour out and to invest into other people. And you guys said something that myself and Josh, I think you guys as well, like are try to be really intentional about having, for men, just great men friendships and people that you can do life with and talk about things that are happening it's the deep work, right? It's what Wow the Heart refers to as deep work and talk about those things. And the same thing, you're doing the same thing on your side as well, Stephanie. And there's power in being able to have, you said earlier, community, right? Where you can be your authentic self is the word you used. And that's really powerful to both have that happen on the ladies' side that, hey, it's not a competition. We're fighting for each other. And on the men's side, say we're not too good and we're not too tough. Like this is real and this is authentic. And I would just say that when people begin to live that way, they find more health and freedom, and it unlocks their potential in the kingdom more than most things. And I just love seeing you guys do that and to approach it. And from that, like from my seat, like I see, like I'm listening to you. I'm like, man, you guys are crushing it. Like we've started a business in COVID. Why not? That's a great idea.
It's
a perfect plan. Started a business. You've got 3 very active boys. You're coaching a team, Garrett, like you're a part of that. Like you've got separate ministry pieces. You've got things that you're doing together. Outside looking in, you guys are crushing it. But for you guys, like, how do you know if you're actually winning? Are we actually hitting the mark that we're trying to hit? We're doing a lot of good things. Like, give me some framework on that. Cause I know we have a lot of people listening. They're like, my life's crazy. I'm doing 10,000 things.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I'm winning.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about that? And how do you know?
A friend of mine said this recently, and it's really resonated with me. And because I think I've lived my life very busy before in the past. And she reframed it as full. And I see myself as winning. And I'll explain the difference. Busy is I was showing up places scattered. I was showing up places not present. Like I had tons of things that like knocked down, and I was so focused on knocking them down that I wasn't present to people. And fullness is I still have a full plate of things, but I am more present in the moment. I'm setting my phone aside when I have that moment when my boys are at basketball practice and connecting at a heart level with my friend across the table and not being scattered, like just going to catch up on emails. So I've been in seasons of busy, and I see a mark of I'm winning when I'm doing that schedule full and present and connected. And whenever I am not winning, I can see myself easily shift to busy. Like easy. It's like a constant. This is not like, man, I have this figured out. It's that I'm just constantly every day trying to check my spirit of like, am I going on this walk with a friend, and while she's talking and needing something, I'm like asking Jesus what she needs. Like, am I connected and full versus like just trying to get the answers and get it done?
It's really good. Yeah,
I
follow
wish-
that one, Garrett.
I wish I'd done it before, Stephanie. I feel horrible now. That's amazing.
I don't get it right all the time. That's my marker.
No,
That is
listen,
my marker.
Let me. You do get it right. You do get it right. But dude, that's a really good question. And honestly, it's a question that I feel like is like a haunting thing for me, because it's like, and I've thought about this a lot over the years, even through work that you and I have done together, Joseph, in different groups over the years. It's like, I don't want to get to the end of my life and go, hey, I did all these things. I was successful from the world's view,
Of course.
but I missed the mark. So one, it's like figuring out what the heck does winning look like and what does success look like, and trying to get clarity around that. That's a big problem for most leaders, I feel like, is like they don't really know. But for me, it's very similar in some way to what Stephanie said. It's like, I don't want to my sons, my wife, my close friends to go, man, he was never I want them to look at me and go, he was there for me, he was kind, he followed through, like he was a trustworthy friend, like he was a guy that I could count on. Like, I want to be that. And so I look at if I'm winning, then like that's happening, and my boys can count on me, my wife can count on me, my friends can count on me, and I'm following through with what I said I was going to do. It's pretty simple. Like, I just wanted that to be true.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I think you guys have given us a lot of great nuggets. Stephanie, I think I still bring it back to what you said. I want to be one, or have a unity with the Father, a unity with Jesus, a unity in the community, and being able to release the kingdom. I know I'm not saying it perfect for how you said it. You said
Union
it
with
great.
Jesus,
Union?
union with Jesus, unity with others, and unleash to bring the kingdom here.
See, I knew you could do it.
That is what the Well Summit does.
Come on, that's good. We'll link on the show notes some ways to be able to get involved with that. But Garrett, Stephanie, thank you so much for your time, for being on here, but also for what you continue to be able to do, both in business, but also in the community, as definitely somebody for us to be able to look to and say, man, I want to be able to attain to some of those things as well. But for our listeners, thank you again for listening. We're excited to be able to come back at you here in another couple weeks. Like and comment and leave a review. That definitely helps get this out to more people as well. So, hey, you guys have a great day, and we'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks so much, Joseph.
Yeah,
See
thanks,
you, buddy.
Joseph.